3 years ago, I quit my real job as a head of growth to start down my solopreneur journey. Since then, I've scaled my one-person coaching and advising practice called Delivering Value, and I've experimented with a ton of different ways to grow the business. I've done one-on-one coaching, group coaching, I advise teams, I've launched online digital courses, I've debated starting a community, but in 2025, I'm doubling down on one thing, the podcast. And in this video, I'm gonna share why I'm making this bet, how I'm taking it to the next level, and what it means for you if you've been following along my journey. I actually hosted another podcast back in 2021, and it was a ton of fun. Making the show, hearing from the guests, learning how to make a podcast, kind of fell in love with the medium and the format. And I got some feedback from listeners that maybe I was onto something as a host. So it planted a seed for me. It took a few years, but here we are. I've published 46 episodes, and I'm kind of making the show that I always wanted when I was coming up in my career. But here's what I've learned. Growing a podcast is really friggin' hard. And for me, super slow and steady in terms of podcast growth at the beginning. But I took an incremental approach. I started making small changes to the show each and every episode, stepping up with the production quality, improving my microphone, getting better video equipment, refining the premise, learning to ask better questions, prepping the guests more, all that kind of stuff, right? All those little changes add up. And what's happened is something big has shifted these past few months. In late 2024, I started hearing from people, listeners and guests, that the show's hitting a nerve. Subscriptions are growing faster, engagement's higher, I'm getting lots of emails and DMs after every episode. The feedback is clear. Something special is going on. And quantitatively, the show just crossed 12,000 listens, which I'm very grateful for. So I'm going all in. And if I'm being honest, I'm just so sick of playing small. I love working with clients. I'm not going to stop doing that. That's why I started my business in the first place. But I want to create a real dent in the world and help my people. Help people who work in SaaS, on and around cross-functional growth teams, and the show is a way for me to reach more of you. So now's the time to see how far we can take it. I'm going to share 3 main reasons why I'm excited to go all in on the show. And the first, maybe the most important, is that I freaking love making this show. When you love something, you pour yourself into it. And when you pour yourself into something, it gets way better. So every tweak I make, every question I improve, it's all about delivering more value to the listener and making something that I can truly be proud of. And that's why I like making the show. It's not just for me. It's the most impactful way that I've found to connect with you, the listener, and to share some of the learnings that I've gotten along the way. The second reason is that I'm more comfortable on video than writing. And so writing for me, for whatever reason, it's always felt like a chore. It's always felt like staring at a blank screen. I overthink every word. I try to make sure it flows perfectly. I can do it. It takes all of my energy, and I think I'm pretty average. But when I'm on video, or I'm recording stuff like this, I can just be myself. I can explain things the way that I would if we were in real life having a conversation over a coffee or sitting next to each other at a bar or whatever. It's real. And honestly, it's way easier for me to show up authentically. And the best part is that running this show, it doesn't just feel good for me because it's audio visual. It's starting to open new doors I've never expected. And this is why the third reason I'm excited to make the show is because creating the show isn't just a creative outlet and something that's fun for me. It's a smart business move. Podcasts are becoming one of the best ways to build deep, meaningful connections with an audience. And those connections, they're a gateway to scaling everything else. The media partnerships, collaborations, and again, promoting my own stuff. And because of this show, I've been able to meet and connect and become friends with incredible guests. People who would have never returned my cold DM 2 years ago. Sure, Andrew, I'd love to sit down and chat with you for an hour. And there's no way people like Adam Fishman and Akash Gupta and all kinds of amazing guests that I've had on the show would say yes to doing that. So it's starting to open bigger doors for me personally and much bigger doors partnership-wise. And the best part for me, again, is not just about creating this one-to-many system where I can promote other SaaS companies and other people's stuff. It's starting to create a system where I can promote my own stuff in a way that's totally natural and authentic. Right in the show, I talk to people about the toughest moments in their careers. And as a coach, I typically help people work through those moments. So it's just creating this really natural and authentic symmetry between stuff that I'm creating, like the show, and things that I offer to sell as a service, right? Not just a sales pitch. It's truly sharing something with an audience that I've already built all this trust and cachet with. And that's the power of the show, right? It's a medium where people spend real time with us. They listen, they trust, and when you share something valuable, they're more likely to take action. So that's why I'm doubling down, because the possibilities for growth, connection, and impact are just too big to ignore. So what does going all in actually mean for me in 2025? Not just about saying I'm committed, it's about taking real concrete action to level up the show in every way possible. First, I'm investing in production quality. I've already upgraded the audio. I'm working on better video here. I just got the Elgato prompter so that I can start to stare at the screen and not feel like you're watching me read my monitor in front of me. I want to step up the editing, and I want every episode to feel polished and professional. So it's something you actually look forward to watching and listening to. Over the last few months, I already started spending way more time on thumbnails, on titles, and actually one of the most recent episodes with Meredith Rosenblum got more views in the first 5 days than any other previous episode has gotten forever, which is pretty incredible. And I want to start recording in person. I'm currently evaluating some studio space in the greater Boston area so that when folks are in town for conferences, for talks, for meetings, I can grab them and we can record in person, and I can create a much higher quality production value, which in turn should help me get better quality guests, should help pull in more listeners, create an environment that's attractive for future partnership opportunities. And so for me, going all in means I'm not just treating this like a thing I'm doing on the side. It's going to become a core part of what I do and a core part of what the delivering value business is. Again, I'm not moving away from one-on-one in my coaching practice, but I'm close to being at a point where my roster is full. And so I want this to be my biggest opportunity to grow and connect and, again, create something truly impactful. All right, so let's recap. 2025, we're going all in. Here's why. I like making the show. I'm more comfortable on video, and it lets me connect with you, the listener, in a way that no other medium can. And as I mentioned, a huge business opportunity for me to scale. Going all in means better production, amazing guests, better distribution, and more partnerships. I hope you've been enjoying the show so far. If you have, now's the time to subscribe so you can follow along for more behind the scenes stuff like this. Hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss a single episode or update behind the scenes in 2025. It's going to be the baddest year yet, and I can't wait to have you along with me on the journey.